This is Ugandan politics, power, dynamics, and the surreal nature of social media under the highest echelons of military leadership. In this video, we are dissecting a fascinating, chaotic stream of consciousness from General Muhoozi timeline, alongside some very heavy counter-commentary from opposition voices. Grab your coffee, let's look at his post by post, reply by reply, name by name. Let's start with the first piece of tape from our archive. In this post, we see a dual-layered reality right out of the gate from Muhoozi. In his first post, he takes a classic stabilizing political stance. Most body riders are law-abiding citizens. We will deal very firmly with the few criminal elements amongst them. It's standard rhetoric, right? Balancing the economy of the working class with public safety. But look what happened just an hour prior in that same file. The tone shifts drastically to raw, unchecked executive wrath. He posts a photo of a man in a yellow shirt standing by a gate and writes, "This thug that kills Sydney will understand the meaning of fear. Justice will be swift." As a student of power, you have to look at the phrasing. Understand the meaning of the fear. This isn't the language of a judicial system. It's the language of an absolute decree. When a top military commander promises swift fear, the boundaries of due process blur instantly. Who is Sydney? Who is the man in the photo? On social media, the general plays both judge and jury before an official gavel can ever take on. Moving on, in this post, we witness the strange adversarial interplay between the general and the public. A user named Fraser Ntungamo replied to him with a simple provocative phrase, Besigye, essentially bringing up the long-time opposition figure, Dr. Kiza Besigye. Muhoozi's quote tweet response, "Haha, I need to laugh." But beneath the laughter lies a deeper tension. Below that, another user named Jewett pokes the beer, replying to both Muhoozi and commentator Frank Gashumba, "I found someone you promised to hang shoot you." Muhoozi's response is short, cold, and dismissive. Who is that? It's a classic power play, strategic amnesia, pretending your legal challengers don't even exist on your radar. But he doesn't stop there. In the final post here, he turns his gaze toward his inner circle and regional dominance, addressing Frank Gashumba directly. On my brother Frank Gashumba, threatening to start another M23 in Uganda, we shall call him and discuss his issues in the PLU Central Committee. Point of information, I outrank Ndugu Gashumba both in Rwanda and Eastern DRC. Think about the geopolitical weight of that sentence. He is openly asserting military and political hierarchy over regional conflict zones like Eastern DRC in a casual social media update. It is a stark reminder of where he believes his jurisdiction truly lies. Now, let's look at how this legal drama evolves. In this post, a user named Alexander NRA Bettenly writes, "I found the Besigye lawyers are expecting you to appear in court anytime soon. Jokers." Muhoozi fires back with supreme confidence. "I'm waiting for them in my unit disciplinary court," that is UDC. The message here is crystal clear. You think you drag me into a civilian court? I have my own military tribunal. It's a total rejection of traditional institutional accountability, signaling that he answers only to the laws of the uniform. Now, let's pivot away from the general's feed for a moment to look at a terrifyingly sober post from the opposition. In this post, we hear from Joel Senyonyi, the leader of the opposition. Senyonyi quote tweets a stark warning from the immediate former Internal Affairs Minister, Kayenda Otafire. Otafire's original tweet addressed to a Professor Kamuntu says, "Honorable Professor Kamuntu, I forgot to tell you, please don't tolerate any form of extrajudicial killings, especially by some few rogue officers in the Crime Intelligence Directorate." Senyonyi seizes upon this admission from a former insider, adding his own devastating commentary. "We have previously had reports that the missing persons were killed and others had their eyes gouged out in a sadistic manner. These grotesque acts and extrajudicial killings are now being confirmed by the immediate former Internal Affairs Minister." The Directorate of Crime Intelligence is headed by Major General Christopher Damulira. This is the dark, heavy gravity underneath the online banter. While the timeline laughs about court cases and political ranks, the opposition is naming names specifically pointing at Major General Christopher Damulira and demanding accountability for horrific human rights abuse. It's a stark contrast between state power and human suffering. Let's return to the surreal world of Generals Freed. In this post, his geopolitical commentary takes a bizarrely mythic turn. Speaking on international diplomacy regarding Turkey, he writes, "On Turkey, I have not made my decision yet. I still need to visit the land of my ancestor, Alexander the Great, Greece, and listen to his words first. For now, the PLU demonstration at their embassy is suspended." He claims lineage to Alexander the Great. Let that sink in. He follows this up with an appeal to pure nationalism. I hear some people saying that with us patriots in charge, our beloved fatherland is in danger. No, with the much-awaited rise of the patriots, Uganda is being restored to its full greatness. The use of terms like fatherland and claiming ancient Greek conquerors as ancestors points a picture of a leader who views himself not just as a politician, but as a figure of historical, almost mythical destiny. And it gets more spiritual in this post. Muhoozi posts a vintage black and white photograph of a tall African man with a traditional hairstyle and writes, "All the angels of Almighty God I see at night look like this. They are all over 7 feet tall. I have never seen a white one." It's a fascinating, deeply personal piece of Afrocentric mysticism. He is reclaiming the imagery of the divine, completely stripping it of Western colonial interpretations that God is white. But then, the timeline takes a sharp, incredibly controversial turn into the Shoreline offensive. Let's look closer. In this post, a user named Lydia asked a simple question: what should short people say? The general replies, and things go completely off the rails. Being short is a disability. We intend to eradicate it in Uganda. He doesn't stop there. He follows it up with 2 more posts. And then, when you are a short woman without a nyash, it's a criminal offense. I'm trying very hard to be generous, but I think 3 years imprisonment and hard labor for nyashless chicks is fair. Doubling down on this bizarre body-shaming rhetoric, he later assures his followers in this post that it's not just a passing joke. You all know me by now. Things start here with jokes and we have a good laugh, but I'm always serious about what I say. This short nyashless women thing, the day will come when action is taken. Ugandans are the true children of Almighty God. They are supposed to be perfect. What do we make of this? To a casual observer, it looks like reckless late-night tweeting. But to a wise political analyst, it reveals something deep about the psychology of unchecked power. When you control the state, the human body itself becomes something you think you can regulate. Perfect or criminalized under the gaze of divine perfection. Finally, let's close out our look at the timeline in this post. The general gets back to the pragmatic business of running his organization, the Patriotic League of Uganda, PLU. He announces a complete overhaul. In the next few months, I will appoint a new membership of the Central Committee of PLU. We achieved what we set out for with the previous team. The new challenges that face us need a fresh team. And following that up, in this post, he names the highlight few who survived the pack. I am retaining Michael Muwagira, Edwin Karugira, Honorable Michael Mawanda, and Andrew Mwenda on the Central Committee of PLU. The rest will be announced soon. Look at those names. Michael Muwagira, that's Toyota. Edwin Karugire, his brother-in-law, the politician Michael Wamanda, and the veteran journalist or intellectual Andrew Mwenda. This is the core inner sanctum. By public listing who stays and casting the rest aside, Muhoozi reminds everyone inside his camp exactly who holds the keys to survival and political relevance. Wrapping it all up, and that, listeners, is the digital landscape of power in Uganda, a short mix of military threats, regional posturing, historical myth-making, uncertain body politics, and cold, calculated organizational purging, all running parallel to heavy opposition outcries against real-world violence. It's a theater of the bizarre, but the stakes couldn't be higher. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep your eyes open and read between the lines.